So if you look at it from, let's go back to the scenario within a large organization. So they are trying to ensure that they have a diverse and perhaps sustainable supply chain. Now, from a procurement side, if we break that out into the suppliers that are providing products or goods or materials versus the suppliers that are delivering services, what do you see as the differences there, and what do you see as the challenges in each of those areas?
Well, I think it's not really a big difference, because everyone wants to sell something. So they all have to have their strategy, how to win clients and how to increase visibility and win business and so on. So I think what I can recommend, though, for diverse businesses is look into the networks which are out there who certify or have a network of that diverse business definition, and also look at companies who have strong supplier diversity program or live supplier diversity in their company, because that's where you can have that additional value add to the company, where you say, hey, look, I provide whatever service or whatever product, and there are many others who do that as well, but we are a diverse owned business. And at the end of the day, it's not about positive discrimination. It's about giving companies the chance to have or to create positive action. And it's not about giving advantages or anything. It's about inclusion, and it's about equality again.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I think one of the things that we certainly see from a services procurement angle is that the way that services suppliers are managed is generally different to the way that goods suppliers are managed, in terms of the type of systems that are used, the type of transaction. It's more binary if you're buying things than if you're buying services and skills and knowledge. And so generally organizations seem to have a much greater understanding of their goods and materials supply chain than they do of their services suppliers, in the sense that I think it's easier for small, maybe diverse, definitely innovative businesses to kind of get lost on the services side, where organizations just be maybe very, very aware of 3 or 4 very big prime suppliers, but they might have a big long tail of supply chain that they don't really have that visibility of. We're certainly seeing very strong motivation from companies to understand that services procurement supply chain in more detail, partly because they need to know what they're spending and whether they're getting the results they need. But it absolutely ties into this side of it, where they can really assess their supply chain and say, okay, we're relying on the big guys and they're telling us they're doing good things in these areas, but actually that's in itself in some ways not very diverse. If we spread it out to different sizes of suppliers in different locations from different backgrounds, etc., that's certainly something that we've seen. But also, I think if you look at the flow down, if, for example, your organization is dealing with a company that supplies some sort of materials for making a mobile phone, for example, then the implications for what they buy and the sustainability, environmental factors, the factors relating to local communities where they might have manufacturing operations and things like that are quite different to, for example, a services supplier, because they might buy different things. Do you think what do you think are the key points of note within that scenario?
Well, first, going back to the production or the products businesses compared to the services businesses. And as I said before, I mean, if you have a niche product, of course, you are in a better position than selling a service that is something that maybe 10 others are selling. So right. that's I think the big difference. But if you have a product that 10 others are selling as well in the same size, same shape and everything, you're in the same position as that services supplier. So I think that's the big difference, that you might have more chance to have a niche product in the products business than in the services business, because there are only so and so many services, right? And products are kind of unlimited, so you can always have a new great invention, obviously also for services, but that's kind of overseeable. Can you say it like that? Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think there's definitely, there's definitely opportunities where niche suppliers in, I don't know, cybersecurity, blockchain, AI, areas that are new and are in demand, where there are shortages of it's not, everyone can't do it. You need to be very, very specialized to do it. So on the services side, there are definitely, scenarios where there are very specialist suppliers. But you're right. If you look at the breadth of product or material that could be supplied, it's it's like you say, almost unlimited. But I think also, like that, if we look at that second tier level, that starts to get really interesting. I mean, that must be incredibly complicated when you're so when you were at IBM, you managed a full second tier scenario within. Was there a second tier scenario within that?
Yeah, so I was leading the global second tier program, which is a huge challenge, especially talking about non-US regions and non-US countries. So in the US, it's pretty common that companies have a second tier program, because they want to make sure not just their first tier suppliers are running a or diverse or run a supplier diversity program. Let me go back. You want to make sure that not just you have a supplier diversity program, but also your first tier suppliers have a supplier diversity program. So you ask your supplier to provide their diverse spend to you, which means that's your second tier diverse spend, which also means to your first tier supplier that their client, which is then the other side, right, is asking for that data. And if you want to make sure that you can continue with that client and you can satisfy the client, you want to provide that data to your client as tier one supplier. So that's a very, very interesting approach. And I think there are so many opportunities there, because you can really make sure that not just in the production, I totally see that it's very common in the production, but also in the as a services business, you are buying stuff. Obviously you're not buying as much as a production supplier to produce something, but you also have to run your business, and you might buy training or marketing services or your facility management, and you buy lots of other things to run your business. You buy all the pens and papers and everything that you have in your office, and you buy presents for your clients and all that stuff. So there are lots of opportunities, but obviously not as many as in a production environment where you have so many different suppliers just to make your product.